Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Our next guest has established herself as one of the most sought-after vocalists in contemporary gospel music. She recently released her debut album, Brand New. Please help me welcome the talented Lena Byrd Miles. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Stephen. Thank you so much for having me.
So you were just telling me that not only have you been doing press all day, you've been traveling. How are you feeling?
I'm a little sleepy, with a capital C in between the S and the L. CH. I'm a little sleepy, but
I understand. Trust me.
But very, very excited though. Like this is I keep teasing people saying this is day 5 of me being an artist. I'm a brand new artist.
Yeah,
but it's my. I'm so used to I'm not used to, but I've done so many features with people on their projects. But now it's like this is your baby you produce to the world.
You gotta promote it. Gotta promote it.
You're just excited, all the things that come with it. Okay.
Exactly. We're definitely talk about the album, but I want to talk about you for a little bit. So where are you originally from?
Oakland, California, born and raised.
Okay.
My whole life. Yeah.
And when did you discover this gift that you have?
I guess my mom would probably say in the crib. She says I was singing as a baby. And they have a picture of me like standing in my crib. I guess I was directing my invisible choir because my hand was doing something like that. And they still have it to this day. But I would say about age 4 years old, I sang at my preschool graduation. So that was something that I remember everybody being so tall and I'm singing, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Don't know a clue of what I'm singing about, but I had that. And then along with growing up at my family church, New Hope Church of God in Christ, my parents are still musicians there. My mom is the organist. My dad plays the bass there. And then my grandfather plays guitar. My grandmother is a pianist. So when you're in a family church, you have to do family things. That can be from singing with the kids choir to handing out cups of juice at the repast after, or the refreshments after the appreciation, and putting that rice pilaf on the plate. It's just you can wear so many hats. So yeah, definitely. As a little girl, I don't know if you remember or heard of the artist Delia Richards. She was a child gospel. I was singing her song, I'm a King's Kid. So several people would call. I'll probably say about age 4 or 5, I started singing that. And people would call my grandfather and say, can little Lena come sing at my annual Usher Day or things like that. Yeah. So that I had a little mini tour as a kid doing other people's music.
That's awesome.
But until later on, my 2 sisters was born, and then we became a trio when they got old enough. We were the Byrd sisters. And then from there, I started doing background work with different artists that led up to me singing with Edwin Hawkins.
Yes.
The late great Edwin from about 2010 up until his passing. And then after Edwin, the mantle was kind of passed to Warren Campbell to work with me.
Exactly.
So God has just been, God has been blowing my mind with these connections.
So let's talk about, like you said, the late great Edwin Hawkins. You were one of the singers, and what were some of the biggest things you learned being part of that group?
Kind of like pacing yourself, the skill of that part, and something Edwin taught without even trying to teach us was just his humility. With because at a lot of his conferences, he does these artist showcase, and sometimes it can seem like it's 300 people on the program.
Yeah.
But when I say he will sit there and root for every person, like they was MC Hammer and just engage. He's engaged. He's not in a phone. He's not, looking down at taking notes or just doing something, but he's really into, and if he don't know what maybe the young choir might have been saying, he's turning around, what are they saying, Lena? Or, but just engage, feeling, because I feel like sometimes humankind has lost that art with having a device now. Like we miss the moment for trying to capture a moment. So it's that was something that, and just learning in certain types of approaching certain songs with him, how they were masterminds at that, and just even how they coach Tremaine, and you see the success that she is, Tremaine Hawkins, and the longevity with her, Lynette, Fetty, and their sound just being a signature. Songwriting wise, just listening to lyrics, you kind of like, wow, not realizing that, certain things that they've done influences you until now here you are doing an album.
Right, now you're doing it.
It's like, what would they do? How would they sing it here? How would they, or, what would make him proud of me here? Just things like that. But yeah, I would say definitely that. And he was hilarious. So there's the other side that he showed me was it's okay to make mistakes while being up there. There was one time we were singing our song that we sing together, and he sang my part and got mad at me. He said, "Lena, why aren't you singing?" And I said, "You sang all my verse and your verse." He said, "Oh." So then he made the band start over and do it over. And then we kind of looked at each other and nodded like, thank you. So just not taking church too serious, if you will, in that sense, to where you like,
be serious and straight and narrow.
You better not mess up. I'm gonna throw this orange at you.
Yeah.
So I love just the balance side that you can love God, you can laugh, you can do His will, you can be friendly. You don't have to be so starchy and uptight and all those things. But where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Be free in being organically and authentically yourself, and that's what draws people.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, because a lot of the great musicians, they start out in the church and then some went on to secular music. And I know this is your first debut album. Did you ever feel that pressure to go secular, or what is it that made you stick with gospel?
There was absolutely no pressure, because our parents didn't let us do anything. No.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
The secular music that we did here, we were sneaking to go here.
Right.
Like I used to be like, "Ooh, what's SWV?" Okay. Then I'll go back to school trying to sing little stuff and fit in and all of that, but it didn't work. I say that, and even in one of my songs, I said I tried to fit in, but it didn't work. That's just like I had this stamp on my back that just said, that's not your route. But I haven't even had anybody pull at me in that sense. It's just like everybody, that even some of the producers that did certain hooks for certain things would still be like, "Oh no, if I want to work with you, I want you featured on my gospel thing or my gospel this." They're not even pulling at me to sing nothing else, even though they're secular artists, So I guess God just kept me hidden that way and said, "This is what I want you to use your gift for when it comes, to what I sing about." But I've always been passionate about gospel because that's what's always been around, and so many varieties of it, from your Winans to James Moore and Mississippi Mass Choir to Rance Allen, Andre Crouch, Gerald Coley, Hawkins. There was so many, Vanessa Bell, Armstrong, like so many different styles in gospel. So yeah.
Well, you share the stage with the likes of Ty Tribute, Leela Hathaway, Dedrick Haddon, Dorinda, John B. What were some of that you can think of? I'm sure you get asked this a lot. Some of the highlights or some of the things that you carry with you now in this journey for you.
Good question. Highlights. I think just being able to work with them was something. And watching each of them in their own individual elements, and just kind of seeing how each artist made certain things their signature, or their, as far as owning the stage. Because sometimes it can be a little, even people that I've even talked to Erica Campbell, and they're like, "Yeah, I still get nervous." So it's just, and somebody brought to my attention something that I do when I sing. So now I'm like, I'm not going to be doing it no more. And I don't want to say it to you because I don't want you to know it.
I'm gonna be watching.
But literally last night, so it's just certain things that you're like, "Oh, that's how they work through that." Or you see them over there praying in the corner before, they go to the next song if they got some sort of anxiety. Because sometimes you're like, how do my song start? And it's your song that you wrote. and you like, help.
That's
help.
happened to me. I'm at it, and the whole song, you lose it. You
Go
forget how
blank.
it went. The lyrics and everything.
From start, and then you can only do oh hallelujah so much before and the band is like, that's so cute. Right. We only go play this so many times. So, but definitely that was the one thing that I took away from working with these, and then how a lot of them would just put me to the side and say, keep being who you are, like don't ever change that. And coupling like your presentation with your humor, people gravitate towards what's real and what's authentic, not me trying to be somebody else and you say, oh, that's a copy of whatever. She got her hairstyle like her, they got the same blazers, they wear the same tennis shoes. You trying to be like that person. So finding the strength and the superpower in your uniqueness and the way that God packaged your gift and knowing that it's enough. Because sometimes you're like, well, I don't sing as good as them. Yeah, but it's enough. You have your audience, you know, and God has the people for you to win, or the souls and the seeds for you to plant for those people. So definitely that when they pull me to the side and say, I love it, keep going, we need you, those type of things, it go a long way from the people you admire. Even if you get a like on Instagram from them, you like, exactly. Like, you know, I'd be like flipping out.
Right. Well, you certainly caught someone's attention. You mentioned Warren Campbell, My Blog Entertainment. We all know he's produced Mary and Whitney Houston, everyone. But how did that happen? And when you got that call, what are you thinking? What's going through your mind?
You know, Brother Steve, my life is full of, I call it divine random. In the case of Warren Campbell, I literally posted a picture of my food at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. I don't know if you heard the story. I posted a picture of my food, not knowing that he had been following my Instagram page, because I don't know if he hit follow, you know, the actual follow button, but my page was public so that he could come and look through clips and memes, because I love posting funny stuff. So people always would come to my page and laugh. And so he tells me later that him and Erica was already following me. You know, Erica Campbell. So I used to freak out whenever I see a like from her. I'm sure. I would freak out. And then she would respond if I say something. She would be like responding to me in her comments. I would just be like, oh, exactly. I could go to heaven. You know. So he DM'd me after seeing the food. We drove to LA, me and my husband, to be some big kids and go to Disneyland, post a plate of food. He had been looking at clips. He sees the food and he says to Erica, Lena is out here. I'm gonna go meet her. They're in their house, and this is like 9 p.m. at night. He DMs me, hi, I'm Warren Campbell. You might not know who I am. I'm like,
don't know who you are, right?
And then at first I thought I was being hacked. So at the dinner table, I just kept hitting that button like, is this the real him? This not no bot or no spam. So I told my husband, he's freaking out. No. I said, it is. It's saying it's him. So we exchanged information. He says in the DM, I think you're phenomenal. You have what it takes to, you know, be a great gospel artist. And I was like, what are this is just a random Monday night. And
eat my chicken. Right. Eat my chicken.
So we meet. He couldn't come to where we were because we were like at the Roscoe's. That was like an hour from him. He thought we were at the one that was within 10 minutes from his house. Yeah. So, because he was like, I was putting on my sweats to come. He was in the bed. He was going to come meet me. So we met on a Wednesday. Long story short, he and my husband hit it off. We talked really quick. Erica had just left to go out of town. He FaceTimes her so we can talk. And he says, if you'll have me, I'd love to sign you and be your producer and get to working on your album. That was November of 2016. I signed in April of 2017. Here we are, 2022, with the album.
So crazy. You released your first single. Let me get it right. It was This Is the Day. This is the Day in 2019. And I'm sure you were excited. You got a lot of love from it. And then we get the pandemic. It hits. And so things had to slow down for a lot of artists, from touring to performing and things like that. So I'm sure, again, you were excited about releasing that single, but how did you cope during that pandemic and during where everything was just kind of shut down and you didn't have that freedom of expression, through your music, in terms of performing and things like that?
Good question. The Lord has just favored me, I think, a little different than some others, because, he still took me on a path of uncertainty because I'm a hairstylist by trade. So not only did music shut down for me, but I couldn't do hair. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, what is to come? But thankfully, I had a husband that was like, I've been taking care of us. But it's nothing like when you, as a young lady, you've been making your own coins and, not only that part of it, but just the hands-on with the clients and helping these women get through certain life issues. And, the salon is just a place of therapy for some.
It's like the barbershop for men. Yeah.
It's an escape. And then for the stylists and the clients alike, like we enjoy making them look in the mirror and say, okay, I can go on. I'm getting rid of this depression, so it was more of that. But the blessing came when, surprisingly, a lot of the ministries were like, we need our deposits back because now we're not having our conferences. And they sent those things, some of them a year prior. So it's like, where am I gonna get the money? I can't do hair. I can't come sing. How am I pay you guys back? And my manager was like, well, what if she made you guys a video or something like that? So the blessing in disguise with that was other pastors, some of the ministries was like, oh, we never even thought about that. That would be phenomenal. So
we all got creative during that time, didn't we?
I mean, tapped into that thing. And I mean, not having to, you could be in pajama bottoms and just have on.
Right.
Just glam up the top.
Waist up.
So that's where the Lord opened up just a stream for me, because all these pastors was like, oh, Lena Byrd Miles is doing it. We want her for our conference. And certain pastors were just so gracious with us getting the process, and they would have me, some of them was having me like twice a month and saying, oh, my wife loves her. She wants her for their women's thing. And I'd be like, but I just sang there last week. And they like, so we don't care. We want you again. And so it was just God blowing my mind with that. And then them sending just out of the kindness of their heart, like, we were so blessed by your ministry. We just want to cash app you today and have lunch on us. So you started seeing compassion in a whole nother way through the pandemic. It was like, God was like, I still got you.
Exactly.
You still you ain't missed a beat. You ain't missed a meal.
Right.
You can see in these chins. You ain't missed no meal. These all you can eat shirts. But he definitely proved himself beyond, the ask or think. And it was like, I didn't even have time to go into a pity party and a worry frenzy about what's going to happen. It's like, you have to believe in the God you sing about to be who you say he is. Now it's time to start. But humans, we just love being in control and going in our wallets and I took care of it. It does something to our ego. And then when we can't, we like panic mode. What to do? And God is like, think, think, think. I'm the source.
Don't forget about me.
These are your I'm the one who supplies the resources. So it's you. Okay, God, you got my attention.
Exactly.
So.
Well, then you came back in 2021 with your next single, "Watch Me," and then shortly after, "Wow, Walk on Water." Yeah. And so I know once you were back and releasing those singles, building up to your new album, how did it feel to be back? Releasing new music.
Very, very good. Because with Watch Me, that was like, we got to do a music video. So that was a first for me, and getting all glammed up. And I had all kind of nerves, but that they had to keep praying with me. So I was like, I've never done this before. And just feeling everything was still, people still had to be so, because people were catching COVID left and right and dying still. So while trying to film, it was just a different mind space to be like, do you got it? Do you got it? Everybody. You do it. Yeah. You do. We was paranoid. Like, you doing here. I'm just, my eyes closed. You put lashes on me and you hear.
Right. Hold up.
That's it. It's a wrap. I'm going home.
Yeah.
So it was like, Lena, your song is talking about watch God work. You have to believe it. You have to put that stuff, into action. He's not going to let nothing. And thankfully, this entire pandemic, I can say that I've been COVID free.
Yes.
My husband caught it. I was with him. I was with Warren Campbell when he caught it, and I didn't catch it. I'm like, thank you, God. You have a reason that you haven't let it come near me yet. So it's been a blessing being back and getting back into.
Absolutely.
I know we won't go back to life as we knew it, but just some sort of being able to.
Normalcy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you had 2 large performances that even broadened your audience, and one was in April 2021. You led Kanye West's Sunday service choir by singing the Clark Sisters, "You Brought the Sunshine," on DMX's home service. And then in March of 2022, you sang the memorandum at the Academy Awards. I mean, those are 2 huge events. Are you starting to say, okay, this thing is happening? This thing is really gonna happen.
When I say divine random again. Never, like, for the Sunday service, both events were shout out to musical producer Jason White, the great legend he is from Los Angeles, because he's the one who called me for both of those.
Okay.
And for DMX, still, condolences and love to his family. Yes. There was another young lady who was supposed to, or who led that on the actual recording that the Sunday services did with You Brought the Sunshine. And I want to say she was either out of town and wasn't going to be able to make the celebration, because I want to say Jason White called me like on a Wednesday, and the service was that Saturday.
Oh, wow.
So it was like they get those calls kind of fast too and try to have to get things in order. But if people are out of town, you kind of have to pull who you can pull. So he reached out to me once he found out the young lady couldn't come. And my husband was like, yeah, she could go.
Right.
Like,
probably even asked you. Yeah, she's coming.
Because I did have something else slated, and I like to keep my word with people. I just told him, like, I can't leave at the initial time that they wanted, which would have been that Friday, because I had a women's conference in my area. And I felt I had to keep my word no matter. I just don't want it to be like, well, I'm leaving you to go do this. I did a red eye flight to New York for even though some of them came in Saturday morning as well, but he called, we got all the things that I needed necessary, got to New York, and we did it. I woke up the next morning on Instagram and had like 10,000 new followers. I didn't know that this would be something that would go viral. I didn't. And then the Oscars, the divine random with that, I happened to wake up on a Wednesday, I want to say, and drove to, it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. I drove to LA, because LA, from where I live, even though I live in California, it's about a 5-hour drive because our state is so huge and long. So I called my husband while he was working at school. He's a teacher. I said, I'm going to go shopping in LA. He was like, okay. And when I get there, driving on a road trip, you get bugs and all that. So I went to get my car washed, and that's when Jason calls and says, what are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. If you are free, we would love for you to sing at the Academy Awards. I was like, and then he said, and we're working on the demo. Is there any way you can get to LA? I was like, get to LA. So I said, Jason, I drove to LA just this morning. Like, I drove here to shop. So he started screaming, going, ah!
Perfect.
What?
Yeah.
He said, what are the odds that you would even be down here? I was like, the odds is that it's God just like, hey, go shop in LA today. You got time. Who just, so that's why I said it's divine random. It's not random to God. It'd be random to us the way, but that's how both of those things happen. So shout out to Jason White. That's family for life, because he's always like, and then even he says a lot of times he's presented with, we want a female voice vocalist who can do blah, and he'd be like, oh, I know who to call,
Lena.
Who's going to so just to be on God placing you on somebody's mind like that, when they've worked with the best of the best. They could have called Shirley Caesar herself to sing on the, I sang her song. So just the fact that you would give me a chance or a shot.
Right.
And even though the slap took more precedence over our moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
with Will Smith and Chris Rock, but still.
Yeah. But that's a moment you won't forget. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we have to talk about your brand new debut album. Brand new, came out October 14th. That day, I mean, think about it. You released the first single, hiatus due to the pandemic, back new singles, you have these big performances, and now it all builds up to this moment. What is going through your mind at midnight, October 14th, 2022? What's going through your mind?
I was in the airport, just like tears everywhere.
Yeah.
Because I had a late flight because we ended up doing a release / skate music video for Walk on Water at Cascade. And skating is one of my outlets. I love to roller skate. So when I can get to a skating rink, that's the first thing that I'm like trying to do to unwind and things like that. It just, it's good exercise. So for the chins. But I was crying. I was crying and saying like, wow, God, we finally here. And all the emotions that come with it. Like, I hope people love my music. I hope they're because with the anticipation can come some pigeonholing where people saying, we're looking forward to your praise and worship album. You're like, well, it is some on there, but it's not just a bunch of tongues and lift your hands and open your mouth. It's not. And then I had some, can't wait for your prayer album. Like, well, I'm not really just gonna do 11 tracks of Heavenly Father, we come before you today. Even though because people kind of approach you with what they see you do, so they'll pigeonhole based off of, we can't wait to have, I'm like, well, all of them ain't gonna be just hand clapping but stomping. So it's just it's almost like I would say okay, because I'm like, well, now they got to be curious and come see before I just break their heart totally, if that's what they were looking for. But even if you lose some fans, you gain some new ones, in the pigeonholing, so to speak, because some people will make you feel like that's the only thing you can do, when God is like, no, there's so much more you can sing. There's so many more things you can do with your range. And I want you to be free with that. So I love that the album has the versatility of everything that I love. I love traditional. Yes. I love hymns. Yes. But I love contemporary and I love quartet. And as the young folks say, I love bops too.
Right, a good bop.
that's what I keep teasing. I'm like, I'm young, but I don't know all the slang. So when I'm reposting what they say in my Insta story,
that's a bop right there.
I'm like, I don't know where that saying came from, but if it's something that they saying, a lot of it, that means it's good. So,
right, absolutely.
But I love that terminology and songs that associate or affiliate with that terminology. Right. So just to feel like I have something for everybody, for every age group. Yeah. And I wasn't trying to market myself or anything like that. It's just singing what we felt and delivering what we felt was from heart to heart, So it's pretty dope. Just that the response has been beautiful.
Yeah.
And people are already, I'm like, the album is in a week old, and they're like, my favorites are, I said, favorites with an S?
Yeah.
Like you're not skipping? And they're like, no, we let it play all the way through. And it's just been a blessing, like, because that's something you hope with your music. When you're featured, you're like, okay, I did what they want to do, now I can go live my life. But yours is like, do they like it? Now the pressure is on your mind. So
I know they said, as artists, songs like our babies. Do you have any in particular that are your favorites on this record?
Oh, Mr. Steven. Don't make me choose.
I know.
It can change from day to day, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like, I get it.
You listen to stuff and you're like, you remember where you were when, like, Loving You. I was telling someone on an interview today, and it's a certain part of the lyrics where it said, people will speed you up, and then they'll try to slow you down with just their expectations. And definitely this process of making brand new. When is your album gonna come out? Is it gonna come out? And even I saw a lady on another post saying, finally, after 10 years, like,
Lord.
people can be so cruel and not even consider. Pastor Warren has a schedule. I have a schedule. I was already.
What goes into making the record? It's not like you just go in the studio. Okay, we're gonna start singing. You know, it takes development.
Bam, here it is tomorrow. And even with a good meal, we all love using the microwave, but nobody's preference. We want something that was labored over. You want somebody who washed them greens as opposed to just get them out the can and toss them. Here you go, eat it. You know,
exactly.
So just anything worth having takes time. So it was days when I would fly back home and I would just play Loving You, even though it wasn't even finished all the way. And I would just be in my car crying, like, yeah, God, when people throw you away and toss you to the side, make you feel some type of way, you never do. You look at us and say, we're right where we're supposed to be in doing what we're, because nothing can happen that you don't allow. Absolutely. If you wanted my album to have been out when I was 13, it would have happened,
Right.
But so it's just learning to embrace certain moments. And with certain things that happen in life, that's when the music came. Watch Me came during the pandemic. So for a season, that was my favorite. And then some days you clean up the house and the quartet one is playing over and over. You're like, yes, sir, it's my favorite this week. So
yes.
That's why I said it could just flow from song to song. So I had to be like, all of them I had to gather, like all of them my favorite.
Yeah. Well, what do you want the listener when they started track 1 and get to track 11? What do you want them to walk away with after listening to Brand New, your album?
I want their faith to be increased, definitely, because there are so many perspectives in songs and messages that you can get throughout listening to the songs, but definitely the message of us expressing ourselves to the Father and then God expressing himself to us through my music. So I would definitely want it to be a reminder for believers, but even introducing what maybe an unbeliever or somebody who isn't in a Christ walk just yet, but it would make them want to, get to know him for what he can be to them, but that it would make them persevere, that they would be uplifted, that they would be inspired, and overall have that keep going push and that do whatever it takes to fulfill their destiny, their purpose for their life, which is kind of what WOW speaks to, not being afraid. Sometimes we do have to do things afraid, but it's kind of declarative in saying, I won't let nothing stop me from, maybe it's starting a business, maybe it's writing a book, or, opening a restaurant, anything, whatever your wow moment is, that you persevere and get the things done that God has placed in you to do. So, because we all need each other in the world, and everybody has something special that God wants them to release. So.
Absolutely. That new album is called Brand New. Where can we keep up with everything you have going on? Because I know the best is yet to come.
Okay. I received it.
Yes.
I received it. All things Lena Byrd Miles are definitely social media. I'm Lena Byrd Miles, Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter page. I have TikTok, but I'm not as active, so I need to learn how to do all the TikTok stuff.
Do little dances.
I have YouTube, and then the label has me with a website now, lenabyrdmiles.com. So I'm excited about that developing. And then music you can download. We're all digital platforms, have that's Tidal, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon, Google Play. I think Spotify, all of those. You'll be able to find me everywhere.
Absolutely. Listen, our thanks goes out to Lena Byrd Miles for joining us tonight. Her debut album, everyone go get it. Brand New is available wherever you download your music. And for more information, you can visit our website at StephenKnightShow.com. And we will be right back. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I have fun. So much fun. Thank you.